Welcome to the HyPrix Porsche Cup, presented by GT Champions.
Well, how awesome was that race in Division 1? I just hope that this can live up to that kind of stuff. Well, I'm speechless. I'm actually speechless. Great race that was. And if you haven't watched Division 1 yet, check it out after we do this. Yes, it's me, Urban Pirate, Black Flag Racing TV. We are here for the HyPrix GT Champions Porsche Cup, round 4, division number 2, at Daytona in these Porsche 911s. And quali is about to start, but we'll get in there in a minute. I'm sure they can do a little warm-up lap without us. We'll have a quick look at how we stand from last week. So this is how they finished at Watkins Glen last week. Bipolar Express, what a race from him. There was a great nail-biting finish for second and third between HPR and Bite the Roses. HPR, however, picked up a penalty, and that knocked him down to 4th place, with Parafusio rounding out that top 3, gaining a little position there, which is awesome for him. Penalty also for Lipe. Black Flag's very own Arminis coming home in 9th place, of course. But great race last week it was at Watkins Glen. That's how the standings are. Bite the Roses from HyPrix leads the way, 55 points. ART's Wooly in second, he's on 36. Bipolar Express after that win last week, also for HyPrix, of course, 35 points. Although I think Friday Whisker should be above him because that's his 37. I won't point out the little flaw there. My math isn't strong either. We look down the order. We've got Parafusio. He is running in 6th. Rusty Nuts in 32nd. No, he's not. He's in 7th with 32 points. Parafusio's teammate Lipe in 8th place. And then obviously moving down the order. But remember, everyone gets to drop around. So we don't know what it's going to look like by the end of this series. Of course, this is brought to you by HyPrix, sim racing, graphic design, stream overlays. You know the drill. These guys are awesome. All these graphics you see are done by HyPrix, and they are brilliant. Right, let's get in the lobby because they're going to reset the room in a sec. So let's have a look who we got out there today. You know, we can't really look much past like Bipolar Express. There it is. But Bipolar Express so quick last week. Almost uncatchable. Bite the Roses very quick as well. I've been watching them practice a little bit as well, and I can tell you the lap times aren't that far off what the Division 1 guys were chucking out. Arminis, of course, for Black Flag. He's out there. Lipe, Rusty Nuts, Parafusio. He's a very, very quick driver. HPR moves up from Division 3 into Division 2 and brought it last week. Absolutely brought it. Just to demonstrate how quick everybody is, really. And I noticed last night in Division 3 there was only 1.8 seconds in difference between the fastest guys at the front and the fastest guys at the back, which just goes to show just how close it is. Division 1, like those two out front are a different class. I mean, I think it was 1:43. 6 was the fastest lap in the race, which was actually 8/10 quicker than the qualifying time for that race. So we'll see if these guys can do anything to beat that. That would be awesome. So as I said, we are here. It's the HyPrix Porsche Cup. This is Daytona in the Porsche 911. I'm of course Urban Pirate, as you I'm sure you know by now, and if you don't, you bloody should do. Little bit of information. It's round 4, of course. It's February 11th, not here it isn't, it's February 12th here. It's 12:30 at night, and I'm tired. I've been decorating all day as well, so yeah, it's been busy. So basically, I did the broadcast last night. I went to sleep for a couple of hours. I got kicked out of bed, sent to the hardware store to buy some stuff, and then decorating. And I'm back to it tomorrow. Yes. So anyway, 60-minute race, 10 minutes of qualifying, which will start very shortly. It's a good start with light damage, BOP, tuning off. It's a full 24-hour cycle. So somewhere around the 30-minute mark, it gets dark, and these cars look awesome in the dark. It is brilliant. How you doing, Ant? Good to see you, man. Looking forward to this one. It's going to be a good one. Yeah, that's basically it's going to be a good one. So nothing more really to say than qualifying is about to begin, and we'll jump in and have a little looky-see as soon as that starts. A little bit of housekeeping. No, I'm not joking. Do what you like. I was going to have a little nag then, but I'm not going to have a nag. There's no need to. Right, so let's get into the... Press the right buttons, mate. Press the right buttons. Boom, shanker, and we're in. So, we had a red flag last night in Division 3. That was purely because of... an issue with the lobby settings. We managed to get through Division 1 without a red flag into Turn 1. Let's see if we can make it a trifecta of races where Turn 1 is not carnage central, which it can often be here at Daytona. It's that kind of track where it's quite a tricky circuit in that respect. Who is out in front? That's going to be... it's not Bite the Roses. It is HPR, maybe? No. I'll find out who it is in a minute when I get there. There we go. Method. THD Method is out in front. So he gets the beauty of the onboard as we go and have a look at the track and see. Now, what was it? It was a 44.4 was the qualifying lap in Division 1. To be fair, I don't think we're going to be that far from these guys. I think we're certainly going to be sub 45 for me. I think we might be somewhere around the 44.8, 44.9 maybe. We'll see just how quick these dudes are. But we know they're awesome. We know they know what they're doing. So, key parts of this racetrack. I know Chris touched on it earlier, but the key parts of the racetrack. You've got Turn 1, absolute key. Your entry into that, and it is paramount. You've got to make sure you get it right, because that tyre will mess you up real bad. Real bad. Then you've got your exit back onto the track, and I found out today, apparently it's called the International Horseshoe 2, but it's the exit from the infield back onto the track, and then you've got your exit, of course, from the chicane, the bus stop. Those are your key areas, and that's where you need to get the maximum speed out of the corner to make sure you have full beans when you get to the end. So here we go. This is a full lap here. You're turning into Turn 1. You're getting on those brakes. You're getting into second gear. So I like to take down the first just to get the rotation, but that's because I'm not very fast. You see these guys whipping it around that kind of little less section, pulling over to this left-hand side on the brakes, and you've got the flags blowing, and it's quite windy. It's 4.4 metres a second against them here. And you can go nice and wide here as you come out on the exit, and you head down towards what I think is probably the trickiest part of the circuit to get bang on right. So you get turned in here, and this is a bit of a weird turn because it's so easy just for you to drift out to that left-hand side and catch that grass and completely scupper your race. But key turn here, you want to get on the brakes just about there, whether you see those cones. Get it turned in, down into first gear, straight back up into second, and then you're on that power heading down towards the bus stop. A good exit there will guarantee a good lap time. And we see Method heading down now as you curve around this beautiful banked oval down towards the bus stop chicane. You're drifting over to this right hand side. You're looking for the number 2. That's it right there. That's when you lift off. Number 1's when you hit the brakes, or if you fuel safe, you lift off anyway. You can cut loads of those curves. You can literally chop them. All 4 of them you can chop. Just make sure at least one wheel is on the racetrack. Out of there, and obviously that's where people can pick up the most penalties. The penalties here can be brutal, absolutely brutal, because you are in 6th gear at full pelt when you hit that penalty line, which is just coming up ahead here. So don't have a penalty, folks, because that's where it's going to go wrong. And you head down round this final turn. You've got pit entrance just there on your left-hand side, and across the line for Method. Method gives us a 46.5, but at the moment HPR on pole. Let me get through the... There we go. PD. Oh, who was that? Just went slidey. That was HPR sliding all over the place. So that's that lap gone. Bipolar Express winner last time out. And currently third in the championship. He puts himself on pole. That's a 44.5. Let's put this into perspective. This is Division 2. Pole sitter, and I think that was Lucas in Division 1, was only 1/10 of a second quicker than that. So my estimate of 44.8, that was kicked in the proverbials. So well done, Polo. That's a great lap by Polar Express. HPR half a second slower at the moment with a 45.0. Sits on the front row, however, with Bipolar Express. Parafusio puts himself onto row 2. That's a 45.2 for the LTM driver. Rusty Nuts from Australia. I don't know why I say Rusty Nuts in that crazy accent, but that's what I'm doing. Is literally 0.03 of a second slower. 45.277 to join Parafusio on row 2. Row 3, there's Fry and the Whiskers. And I said this last week, I'm going to say it again, that sounds like the name of a really cool folk band that you find in like one of the obscure tents when you go to a music festival. You know, the tents they stick way off in yonder, miles away from any facilities. He's currently heading up row 3. That's a 45.4 for him in that beautiful gold Porsche. We'll have a look at some of the liveries in a minute. There's Bite the Roses, the other HyPrix driver. He's got a 1 second penalty. That's not going to be an improved lap. Currently 2/10 behind Fry and the Whiskers with a 45.6. I know he's capable of quicker than that. Come on, Roses, give it some. There's J-Rod for RWB, 45.7 for him. That's currently 7th place. Good enough for row 4. My friend ART Woolley from the Amigos Racing team, 145.1. And a quick mention, a big shout out to Amigos. I was involved with them, but they held a charity event on Thursday to raise money for cancer research, in the hopes of getting about 250 quid. It was a great night of racing, 4 lobbies we had. I ran a lobby for them and streamed some of it, and it was an absolute brilliant night. And last count raised over £1,200. I think that was the last count, over £1,200. Brilliant night of racing that was. So well done to them. And as we say that, he puts himself onto row 2 with a 45.1. Let's go down to the back of the grid. Lipe, LTM driver, 56.3. I know he's got more pace than that. We'll see him improve on that. There is Kevin, Renegade from the ISO Racing team. That's a 147.2 for him. And Arminis from very own Flat Racing, 147.1 for him. Rusty Nuts getting in that slipstream behind him. Arminis could do picking up some slip just to improve that time if he can. Venom, RWB Racing's Venom from the United States, 145.909 is his best time, and that puts him in 12th place. Method with 45.8 did improve on his first lap, but only good enough for 11th place. Just behind J-Rod from the United States, another RWB driver, 45.7 for him, and just 1.5 hundredths of a second quicker is Bite the Roses from HyPrix. That's a 145.6 for him. And Scarlet of the ISO Racing team, my friend Pascal from Belgium, he is 5 thousandths of a second quicker at the moment than Bite the Roses, and that'll put him in 8th place. Then we move up to row 3. Row 3, Fry and the Whiskers moving down there, older now, 45.4. He has improved, 45.428, but it's just ramping up out in front. And Bipolar Express just done a 44.5. Sorry, they've done a 44.5, so not just done, he did it ages ago. Lipe, how long have we got left? What, 7? But a couple of laps left. Lipe is currently heading up row 3. That's a 145.3 for him. Rusty Nuts from Australia. He is currently just 4 hundredths quicker. That's a 145.2. So far, he has. I was wondering whether anyone else managed to go sub 45. Parafusio, promoted to 3rd place. He gets demoted from the 2nd row to the 3rd row by his teammate. But Parafusio with a 145.2 hasn't yet been able to improve on that. It's still another lap in the bin for him. Lipe does a 45.1 and leapfrogs his teammate up into 4th. So top 3, there is Woolley, 145.1 for him. Last lap was a 45.7, didn't improve, and he is 1 thousandth of a second quicker than Lipe. That's the margins here. 1/1000th of a second is the difference between being third and being fourth on the grid right now. 10th quicker up the road, and that's a 1:44.9. So the top two, both sub 1:45 around here. That's HPR from Malaysia. I'm reliably informed. I don't know why I said Indonesia last time, but I'm reliably informed that's Malaysia. And decent lap there from Harmonist. That moves him up the order a little bit. Woolley goes faster still. That's a 1:44.7 from Woolley, putting himself onto the front row and relegating HPR down onto row 2. Bipolar Express, he got that business done nice and early. First hot lap out, 1:44.5. Bish bash bosh. Thank you very much. I'm on pole. What you gonna do about that? And as Bite the Roses goes sub 45, that's a 44.9. That puts him on road 2. So we've got HyPrix from ART, from HyPrix, from HPR. I think he's an independent driver. I could stand corrected, to be fair. LTM's Lipe, frying the whiskus. From Spain, we've got Parafucio from LTM, Rusty Nuts from Australia, and then we've got Venom from RWB United States, Scarlet from Belgium for ISA, RWB's J-Rod from the United States, Method from THG, our very own Harmonist in 13th, and 14th is ISA Renegade with a 47.1. Come on, Kevin, get this done. So, final lap for everybody. Is there a little twist in the tail? Can anybody match the dominance so far of Bipolar Express? And he is almost always 2.5 tenths of a second. So yeah, that's right, isn't it? Yeah, a quarter of a second, 1/4 of a second. Just do it that way, Andy, you idiot. Yeah, 1/4 of a second faster than anybody else. Method with a 45.7. Parafucio puts himself back onto road 2. That's a sub 45 lap as well. But we're with Bipolar Express. He's going to come around now, and we'll see what sort of time he's got. But I can't tell whether he's up or not. So Woolley's still sitting on row 1 alongside Bipolar. Parafucio's done. He's third. Bite the Roses, he's still going. He's getting a lot of slipstream there from Bipolar. Is that going to help him and put him on the front row with that bit of slipstream? There, he pulls out the slip. He goes across the line, but it doesn't give him enough. He's just a little touch slower. Bipolar doesn't go any quicker, but he doesn't need to because he's currently sitting on pole. Anyone else still going quickly? I think we're done, folks. I think that is qualifying. So it is Bipolar from Woolley on row 1, row 2, Parafucio and Bite the Roses. HPR and Lipe on row 3, Fry and the Whiskas, and Scarlet are on row 4, Rusty Nuts with Venom on row 5. Row 6 is J-Rod and Method, and row 7 will be Harmonist and ISA Renegade. Get on it, folks. Definitely going to be big things occurring today. So Bipolar Express qualifies with 1:44.5, and that's just 1/10 of a second slower than the pole for Division 1. I mean, this demonstrates just how close these three divisions are. Is that, you know, you've got a driver in HPR who moves up from Division 3 into Division 2 and immediately puts himself in the top 3, albeit with a penalty that drops him down a place. And then you've got the the guy who won last week and the current pole sitter, just 1/10 of a second slower than the guy who came second after a thrilling race in Division 1. It's certainly going to be interesting. I would love to see one of these guys beat that blistering lap we saw in Division 1 from, I've forgotten his name, Jakey, who it was a 43.6. Absolutely insane. So, there we go. We are ready pretty much to go any time now. Another quick look at the standings so we can see where everyone's at. So this is where we currently stand. Bite the Roses goes into this, and he's going to be on row 2. We go into this with the HyPrix driver at the top of the tree. Current pole sitter Bipolar Express. He is just back in third place behind Woolley. So the top 4 make up 3 of the top 3. Does that make sense? That doesn't make any sense at all. So the top 3 in the championship are in the top 4 on the grid. That's better, isn't it? Frying the Whiskers, qualified in 7th place. He's currently sitting 4th in the championship. HPR, moving up from Division 3, is 5th. He is currently 5th on the grid as well. So, yeah, Willie thanking Frying the Whiskers for that slipstream that gave him that that blistering time that got him on the front row. And we've got 5 drivers, top 5 drivers, all sub 145, which is insane. But perspective, guys, perspective here. Venom in 10th did a 45.5. That is so 1 second separates Polar Express on pole and Venom in 10th place. That's how close this is. It's insane. And as we know, it's quite easy for a little mistake here or there, or, you know, a wheel on the grass where it doesn't need to be, before it all goes horribly wrong. And we see it all the time. So we're just waiting for everyone to tell us they're ready. And well said, Parafucio, brakes on first corner, please. You know, the adrenaline's going to be up. They're all going to be vying for a great position out of turn 1. But it is all about just kind of being measured when you go in and realising that there's going to be 14 other cars around you. And you need to kind of make sure that you're just being mindful of what is occurring when you go into turn 1. Once we're through that, we should be all right, no problem at all from that point. Right, so, are we starting yet? Pretty much soon-ish. I'm really looking forward to this. It was a great race last night. I just watched the Division 1 race, which was awesome. This one I'm really looking forward to, though. Just because I think these guys are, the majority of them, you could take, I think you could take certainly anyone out of the top, I think the top 6, top 7 here, and you could plonk them in Division 1 and they wouldn't look out of place at all. Not in the slightest. In fact, you could take a number of drivers from here and put them in Division 1 and they would look out of place. That's how good it is here in Division 2. And I actually think Division 2 is better than Division 1. But there we go. Boom. Let's talk about HyPrix while I wait for it to start. This is brought to us by HyPrix, who have just been sponsored by Sim Race City. They're putting some money in the bin. Money doesn't go to these guys, it goes to the top 3. It's $200 to the winner of Division 1, which is an insane amount of money to drive a car fast on a computer screen, isn't it? But there we go. Thank you, Team HyPrix, for everything you do and for getting us involved in this here Porsche Cup. There was an announcement earlier you may have heard from Chris about GTC 5. More information to follow on that, of course. Can't wait for that. Really looking forward to that. So here we go. Let's see if we can make it into turn 1 safely. And I've not forgotten. I will remove it. There we go. It's done. Tick her up, of course. There we go. And I'm going to have to jump out because it always does this to me. Back into the room and we'll go down. Let's go somewhere around HPR that gives us a good view into turn 1 and make sure everyone gets through safely. So here we go. We are away. Parafucio already moves up into 2nd place. HPR got up into 3rd. Great start from Bipolar. That they're winning hot. Who's going wide? Oh, that was quite wide there. That looked to be, I think they're through. There's a little bit of shovey, but I think pretty much we made it through. Let's have a look and see who lost that. It's a Bipolar in the lead of this race. That was a little nudge, I think, behind from Frying the Whiskers. So Bipolar does hang on in the lead. HPR moves himself up into 2nd place. Parafucio up into 3rd. Frying the Whiskers into 4th. Bite the Roses drops down to 5th place. Wooly, big drop from him. He's down into 6th. But he's trying to have a little go back. Rusty Nuts absolutely catapults Wooly into the wall. That was absolute nuts. Just really late on the brakes there. Scarlet into 6th place. We've got Venom behind him in 7th. Under some pressure from J-Rod. This is RWB versus RWB. Are they going to work together to get each other up the road a little bit? Method in 9th place. Arminis has made his way up to 10th already. Benefits a little from the shenanigans behind. Lipe in 11th place, tucked in behind him. His teammate Parafucio way up in 3rd at the moment. Renegade, he's in 12th. He's ahead of Wooly, and Rusty Nuts right at the back. Wooly's calling for a restart, but for me, there was only one little touch there. I don't think it's worthy of a restart, to be honest. But Bipolar Express in the lead there. We're looking for sort of 3 or 4 cars being compromised, but I think there was a couple of individual individual issues and people on the grass, but there wasn't any mass pile up or anything like that. Just one of those things, unfortunately. So Bipolar in the lead from HPR. Are we going to see a number of these cars pull away, or is it going to be a really tight knit group of cars? Already we can see the top 4 there, just making a little gap back, got their own little niche on the racetrack. Bipolar from HPR, quarter of a second to Parafusio, half a second to Fry and the Whiskas, and then it is 1.2 seconds back to the second HyPrix driver. There he is, biting the roses in 5th place. He is half a second up from Scale, and look, I love this shot of these cars heading down as they head out towards the back towards the oval there. So Scale is half a second back from Venom. Sorry, half a second back from Roses. 8 tenths up from Venom, and 9 tenths back to J-Rod, 1.1 back to Lipe, 1.1 back to Method, Arminis in 11th, Renegade in 12th, Rusty Nuts in 13th, and Wooly, unfortunately, 28 seconds back in 14th place after being rear-ended by Rusty Nuts there on lap 1. So unfortunate, because he did so well in qualifying as well. But he's very quick, and there's always going to be the opportunity. It's a 60-minute race, certainly a chance for him to bust back up that order. So there we go, there's your current leader, HyPrix Bipolar Express from HPR, and that gap, it looked like the front 4 were going to pull away, but it's actually closed up a little bit. Biting the Roses is not letting these guys pull away, and he's only 1 second back, just outside that slipstream. But it just takes a little bit of a move. We can see here, Fly the Whiskers. Is he about to make a move? He is. He's trying to make a move round the outside of Parafusio. Parafusio holding onto that inside line as they head round into turn 1. We'll see Fly the Whiskers just pull out there. Although he's still trying to hang it around the outside into turn 1. Very brave to try and make that move there. I'll tell you that for nothing at all. Beautiful gold on that car. Shall we have a look at the beautiful liveries we've got out there? Of course, instantly recognisable. There's your HyPrix livery. Instantly recognisable there for Bipolar Express. HPR, he's an independent from Malaysia. That's a beautiful car, actually. Like it a lot, Picasso. LTM Parafusio with their purple and black and lightning strike liveries. He's running in 3rd place, of course. Friday was I wanted to look at this because I love that gold colour. It's beautiful. Really cool. The gold and black working very well together as they come out of the horseshoe onto this oval. By the Roses, HyPrix, of course. Obviously, it's still recognisable. With his little rose in the back there, you know who it is. There's Venom RWB. He's got a very slightly different livery to the standard RWB livery. Still pretty cool all the same. There's Scarlet with the ISO one, and we know how good the ISO livery. They're always really cool to look at. Lipe and LTM, we've seen it already. There's Method THG Racing Team. Red, white and blue. Very cool. Very United States of America. Loving that. Was that penalty worthy? Just went a little too far over. I think you got away with that though. Arminis black flag one. Look how cool that is. Very cool black flag livery. That one. A little bit of self-promotion never hurt anybody. There's Renegade with his own personal ISO livery. Signs on Parallel on the side of his car there. J-Rod, that's the livery we all know and love. We can see Rusty Nuts there trying to find a way past J-Rod in that RWB car, but can't find a way through now, so just drops into that slipstream. There he is, so he's there tucked in nicely under that wing as they go down to turn 1, looking to make a move. Not this time, he's just going to hang on. He's also got, there's a lot of red, white and blue out there today, isn't there? A lot of red, white and blue. Even for the Australian driver. And Wooly at the moment, with the ART, that beautiful ART livery, 28 seconds back, and I tell you now, I think he might be raging after what happened to him. He didn't have the greatest of starts, but then what happened to him in the horseshoe, I believe it's called. Yeah, I'll be raging about that. I wouldn't be too pleased either. But there is your race leader. He's still in the lead of this race. He's still just under half a second up from HPR, who is, and those two just starting to edge now. away from the rest of the pack. Fastest lap so far with Roses, that's a 44.4. That's equivalent to the qualifying lap in Division 1, just to show you what kind of pace we're talking about from these front runners. And I said they were edging away, but it didn't happen for very long, because Parafuso is starting to close up on HPR. We've got Friday Whiskers in there, we've got Bite the Roses in there. Now that top 5, and we'll see here as they come round, you can see how far the gap is. Look at that. That's the gap back. You've got a little gap back to Venom and then Scarlet, then a further gap back to Lipe. Where is it? Lipe, who's on his own at the minute in a bit of a gap. Then behind him, Method, Arminis, Renegade, all spread it out a little bit. But this is where the battle's going on, in that top 5 cars going for it. And Bite the Roses has made the move up into 4th, but Friday Whiskers holds on, takes that place back. It doesn't last very long. He is getting on this, absolutely getting on this. And I'm going to borrow Chris's drone, and there's the drone camera. Look at this, one by one, single file, racing hard all the way. And he's having a look up the inside, makes the move this time, loses the car a little bit, but does get back up and running again. Friday Whiskers staying just ahead of him. It's very, very close with these two. But that little touchy between those two has just given a little bit of a breather to the top 3. So the gap now, 2.6 seconds, and you see the top 3 there, pulling off into the distance. Beautiful. This is a beautiful shot, isn't it? I mean, look behind. That's what you can see behind these cars all battling out. They're all going to find a little niche on the racetrack from this stage. And I can tell you, I'm just having a look through. So, basically, the strategy of the day is going to be soft. I'm not giving anything away by telling you everyone started on the soft compound tyres. There was only, to be fair, that's been the predominant strategy in all 3 divisions. We did see a couple running soft and medium yesterday in Division 3, but the majority of cars have run soft here, which is about the right strategy for Daytona. So, we will start to see it get dark. Where are we now? We're sort of 8 minutes in. So, in about 10, 12 minutes time, we'll start to see the light fading away. By the time we reach the half-hour mark, it is going to be fully dark. But there's your leader being absolutely harangued and hounded by HPR, trying desperately to find a little chink, something, some mistake, some little slip, some little gap where he can just throw that car in and take the lead of this race. But so close at the moment between these two. And it's such good racing. I mean, to race that closely in the dirty air of that HyPrix car as well for HPR just makes it so difficult at times. But the good thing about being tucked in that slipstream is you don't get affected by that awful headwind that hits you on this particular part of the racetrack. So they head down there, back out onto the oval, and they will sweep round towards the bus stop chicane. And we can see there that he's just dropped off a little bit, but there's your top 3. It's Bipolar, it's HPR, it's Parafuso. That's the 3 there. The gap back there to Bite the Roses, who has got that move done on Friday Whiskers, up into 4th. That's 3 seconds now. The Portuguese driver Parafuso just able to open up that gap a little bit. And that was because Bite the Roses and Friday Whiskers had a little tete-a-tete, shall we say. A little love tap going through. But it's all good. No one got injured. And Bite the Roses, what happened there to Parafuso? Because that gap was like 3 seconds. And he's absolutely melted him. Caught right up. And it looks like Parafuso had a bit of a problem because he's dropped into the loving arms of Roses, who goes through into the top 3 and Frying the Whiskers. And this is still on. He's not giving it up at this stage, Parafuso. He wants 3rd place back. He gets back into 4th ahead of Frying the Whiskers. Frying the Whiskers does a little switcheroo on him, catches the tyre wall, and Venom, Scarlet, Lipe all coming through. Frying the Whiskers does the right thing, just reverses out of the way, but just tried to throw it up the inside and caught that tyre wall, and that drops him down to 8th place. So Parafuso can breathe, which is what I need to do, because that was really exciting stuff. So Parafuso can just relax now because he hasn't got that significant pressure from Friday Whiskers. So Bipolar and HPR out in the lead. This is a very similar scenario to what we saw in Division 1, in that these guys just starting to pull away The front two just starting to pull away from the rest of the pack and having their own little racy race. And this is what it amounts to at the moment. We've got Bipolar Express 7/10 up from HPR. They're just plodding along doing their thing. By the Roses, fastest man on four wheels at the moment with a 44.4. He's up into that top three. That's two HyPrix drivers in the top three. And this is the same top three that crossed the line last week in the, I think the other way around. HPR and By the Roses were the other way around. I think that was the case. Or was it? No, it wasn't. I think By the Roses was behind HPR. Involved some sort. I could have written it down to be fair. But Parafusio is back up into fourth place. He did lose a place down to fifth, but we saw when Friday Whiskers tried to make that bold, and it's a bold move to try and make that move up the inside there into turn one. He did the old switcheroo-rooney, and it didn't work out, and he caught the tyre wall and let Parafusio off the hook. So that promotes Venom. He's up into fifth place, and he's built up a little bit of a gap to Scarlet behind. 1.3 seconds is the gap to Scarlet, who's got a little battle going on with Parafusio's teammate Lipe. Briefly, Lipe had got ahead of him, but into turn one, and Scarlet just holding him off. But how long can he hold him off for? Because it looks like he's going a little bit wide, a little tap. He's going a little bit wide. Lipe goes through. He's up into sixth. Scarlet has to tuck in behind. Here we head down into this really, really tricky section. And this is where you just have to be. It's like turn one, that you just have to be a little bit careful on the brakes and be prepared to sacrifice a tenth, maybe, just to make sure it doesn't all go horribly, horribly to Tom. So, Lipe gains place up into sixth. Scarlet drops down to seventh. There's Friday Whiskers. He had that great battle going on. He's now down in eighth place. He's 1.6 behind the Belgian driver Scarlet, and that's purple. So he is on it now. He has decided it's time to bring out the big guns, and his foot is through the floor right now. 7.5 seconds, the gap back to Blackflag's very own Arminis there, running well. He's got a nice little niche in the racetrack that just belongs to him right now. So he can kind of settle into a good little rhythm. 2.1 seconds clear. That's the fastest sector for him so far. 2.1 seconds clear of the THG driver Method from the United States with that red, white and blue livery. Into the bus stop they go. Out of the bus stop they come. 2.3 seconds of gap there. 4.1 back to Kev. ISA Renegade. He's got a 1 second penalty. J-Rod's going to make the move on Renegade before the penalty gets served by the looks of it. He's going up high. There's J-Rod down low, takes 11th place. We'll see Rusty Nuts will be slipping through very shortly when Renegade serves that penalty. He's staying in the slipstream. Obviously, he wants to keep the momentum as much as possible. But nothing you can do when you're serving a penalty there, because the cars will just stream past you. Wooly had a terrible start to the race. It just didn't work out for him, for the Amigos driver. He didn't have the greatest start, so dropped down a couple of places from the start, and then absolutely melted before they came back out onto the oval, which cost him so much time and so many places. And such a shame, because he had such good pace in the qualifying. But I'm sure that'll be looked at by the stewards and decisions made on the outcome of that. So, By the Roses has made it past HPR up into second place. And I don't know what happened up there while we were looking behind, but Bipolar Express has opened up a humongous gap. 4.4 seconds already. Bipolar Express, he's out there alone. 4.2 seconds now, the HyPrix driver. Back to By the Roses, he's the other HyPrix driver running in second. He's got himself ahead of HPR, 4.3 seconds back though, so he's got some work to do to catch up to the back of his teammate. Is HPR going to kind of tack on? I was going to say, he's going to tack on to By the Roses and help him forward, but at the moment, his concern is what Parafusio is going to do. Are these two going to work together with a little bit of bumpy draft, as we saw the Division 1 guys doing, just to help each other up the road to kind of close in? But to me, it looks like Parafusio is going to go for this and under-braking into turn one. Bravery personified, but he does back out. HPR takes that inside line. Parafusio stays in behind, and no one's died just yet. The only driver we've seen so far have that big accident. Parafusio chucks out the inside, and does he make that stick? Has he compromised HPR? No, he He did try and chuck out the inside, but HBR hangs on for third. So this battle at the moment for third place is absolutely raging on. HBR off like a rocket with Bipolar Express initially, but it's just seeming to slow down. You know, you're absolutely right, Joe, just you said about a great effort from Woody. You're absolutely right. It's so hard when you have it, especially when you've been that quick. I mean, I don't know what it's like to be that quick. I don't drive that fast ever. Apart from apparently a Big Willow, which seems to be my go-to track at the moment. Yeah, I mean, let's have a look where he is now, because he's there at 22 seconds back. But yeah, I mean, he qualified so well, and it wasn't the quickest of starts, but he was kind of there or thereabouts in 6th place. But to then have your entire race kind of, and let's face it, it's not over. There's still, you know, a good 40 minutes of racing to go, 40 odd minutes of racing to go. So it's not over yet. We've got the pit window and we've got all that kind of thing to come, or people's pit stop. So anything can happen just yet. But you're right, to kind of hang in there after that, it's so difficult to stay motivated because you know you're looking, you're thinking that guy's 22 seconds up the road from me, and it does mess with your game plan a little bit. But you're right, absolute credit to him. There's your leader, 4.5 seconds clear. He's just been, last week and this, he has been absolutely flawless and doing a really good job so far. HBR Parafusio still going at it. These two are not giving this up. The thing is, what this battle does actually is it plays into the hands of the two HyPrix drivers, because we can see there up in the distance that's HyPrix by the Roses, and then ahead of him Bipolar Express. So where HPR and Parafusio are battling, it's allowing Venom to close up on the back of them. It's allowing Lipe and Sixth to close up on the back of them, and it's allowing the two in front to open up a nice big chunky safe gap. Now, I mean, the ideal for these two HyPrix drivers is that they can run side by side to the end of this race, as Roses puts in another purple sector. He's already Mr. Purple with a 44.4, which is a phenomenally quick time for a race time, particularly in Division 2, of course. But, yeah, I mean, this battle at the moment, I mean, HBR has now just pulled a little bit away from Parafusio, giving himself a little bit of a cushion. And Parafusio is now the one looking to defend. And there is Venom just giving him that little nudge before they go into this bus stop chicane. Cross those little curbs. You can take quite a lot of the curbs. I'm saying on the way in. Just a little bit careful on the way out, you don't pick up a penalty. But Venom, obviously, you've got to back off when you're going in there. He was really close going in. But you've got no choice but to back off, because it's just such a difficult thing to follow through there, and to try and keep the car stable is a difficult thing to do. So you just want to drop out a little bit down to this point, this kind of distance. But he's closing up again, heading down towards turn 1. And we can see HBR going in, we can see Parafusio going in, and there is Venom turning in. Gap back to Lipe, there he is in 6th place. That's 1.5 seconds, that gap. Friday Whiskers has earned himself a new position on the racetrack. He's moved up to 7th place. So unfortunately, he caught that tyre wall. It was a brave move he went for, and if he pulled it off, see, this is the thing, when you go for a move like that, it's hero or zero. Yeah, no, you're right, and he's pulled back 8 seconds of how far back he was. Yeah, so Friday Whiskers, you go for that kind of move up the inside like he did at turn 1. You pull it off, and you look like an absolute legend of motor racing. But you always take that risk, because you've got that horrible tyre wall there, which absolutely chopped his car in half and dropped him down the order. But he was quite smart, actually, because he straight away reversed off the racing line to make sure he didn't compromise anybody else, and then got back running again. Scarlet running in 8th place in Division 4 champion, of course, from the World Championships, running 10 seconds back from Friday Whiskers, with Arminis, our very own Arminis, just 1.3 seconds back. If Arminis is a really nice guy, if he can just close up within 1 second, start picking up some slipstream, it's going to make for an interesting chase down between Scarlet and Arminis. And these guys have raced together on numerous occasions in sort of our sort of league racing and that kind of thing as Then we go 1 second back. There's Method with the red, white and blue sporting all over his car. He's 9 seconds clear of Renegade, the Australian, who's 1.2 seconds ahead of his compatriot Rusty Nuts, who I think might be on the receiving end of a penalty. We'll wait to see what stewards say about that. 3.6 seconds back to J-Rod of RWB, and Woolley is now closed that gap to 14 seconds, so he's definitely not out of it, and certainly pace-wise he's certainly a little bit quicker than those cars in front of him. So I wouldn't count Woolley out just yet. I think you will find that his pace will move him up that order. But out in front, nothing's really changed. There's your leader, Bipolar Express, 4.5 seconds clear of his teammate Bites the Roses. And they've really pulled out a gap now on the rest of the field. These two HyPrix drivers have it's a 7.3 second gap to Venom, who's got himself ahead of Parafuso. What's happened to HPR? HPR has had a problem because he's now down in 7th place. He has dropped from 3rd right the way down to 7th. And that tucks him behind Fry and the Whiskers and ahead of Scarlet. So Venom up to 3rd, and that's why the gap's so big. Venom up to 3rd for RWB. That's a good little run for Venom there. He's got Parafuso behind him, just under a second behind. He's tucked in that slipstream. You see a little bit of a lag from him there, actually. And he's got his teammate, of course, right behind him, picking up some slipstream from him as well. So can these two now work together as a team? They are teammates, of course. Parafuso from Portugal and Lipe from the United Kingdom. But can they work together as a team and just push each other up the road and try and tack onto the back of Venom, and then maybe use each other as a kind of buffer to pull away and try and head off after the two very quickly disappearing HyPrix drivers. Penalty for Lipe. That's not going to help with him helping his teammates, essentially, which is what we kind of wanted. We wanted to see him and his teammate working together. That's allowed Fry the Whiskers. He's gained another place up to 6th place, and then he's in 5th, but he's a little bit deep. He's cost himself some time. He's on the grass. He's turned that Porsche into a ride-on lawnmower, and he's back down to 7th place. The gap big enough to Scarlet, 12 seconds back, that gap to Scarlet, which has just allowed him to stay in 7th. But HBR gets a breather, and it's 2.5 seconds, or 2.3 seconds now, as Fry the Whiskers gets himself back up to speed. Not going well for Fry the Whiskers. If there's a mistake in there, he's finding it at the moment. Bipolar Express still leads this race. His fastest lap is a 44.6. His teammate, just a couple of tenths quicker, is 4.5 seconds behind him. But at the moment, it's going to be very difficult to see. Well, we're 25 minutes into this race. Very difficult to see as we start to see the lights start to will start to fade away. But yeah, it's very difficult to see where the guys behind are going to find this pace run. By the road, is certainly going to find it difficult to close up that 4.6 seconds without the help of some slipstream somewhere. He is 8.9 seconds clear now of Venom running in 3rd, and Venom has got Parafuso crawling all over him. Parafuso is determined not to lose out on a place in this top 3. Absolutely smells blood, and every time he gets onto the back of the person in 3rd place, you can just sense that feeling of danger from the guy in 3rd, trying to hold off the rush of the LTM driver. And you can see there, and we ride on in this kind of chase cam view, you can see that Venom, he's doing it, he's putting the car in the right places, and he's holding on well there in 3rd at the moment. But Parafuso is just finding that little bit extra pace. I think the thing that's been letting these guys down is consistent times. And I think Parafuso, if he could create a bit more consistency in those 45s, he would be there or thereabouts. But, it is what it is. It's racing, and the light starts to fade here at Daytona, and this is when the cars look beautiful. They slam on those brakes into turn 1, and you can see the wheels just light up, and we'll see that as it gets darker. There's Lipe, he's 1.9 seconds behind his teammate. Bipolar, Bite the Roses, and Venom still the top 3. HPR, he's running in 6th place, the Malaysian driver. Was in the top 3, had a little wobble, and that has dropped him down into 6th. He's now safe from the the onrush of Fry on the Whiskers that was happening to him. He's kind of saved himself and moved himself out of that danger zone for the time being. 5 seconds back to Scarlet, who's under a bit of pressure now from Arminis. Arminis was 1.3 seconds back. He's now just 6/10 back. He's got Method sticking with him as well, but this is a battle raging on because he's got Scarlet right there and he's in that slipstream. Is he able to close right up and make a move? Certainly not. I don't think he's going to be close enough here into turn one. And I wonder if we're going to see the beauty of on the braking there. I don't think it's quite dark enough just yet. Oh, we do see a little bit there. It'll get better as it gets darker. That just gets, it's just a thing of beauty. And we can see their Method closing up on that battle now as well. And these guys have got their own little separate battle going on. So we've got little pockets now on the racetrack where things are just opening up. We've got Bipolar and Bite the Roses. They're off out in front doing their thing. Venom, he's there with Parafusio and Lipe just off the back of that. And a little bit back to HBR. Then we move up, we've got Fry the Whiskers. He's on his own at the minute. Lonely existence there in 7th. Nice solid gap either side. Then we've got Scarlet, Arminis, Method. They're battling out currently for 7th place. Then it's 20 seconds back to Renegade. Did J-Rod clip somebody? Just I'm sorry. So Renegade is 3 seconds clear of J-Rod. He is 5 seconds ahead of Wooly. And Rusty Nuts is the first to blink, the first into the pits. So we'll see where, if the early stop helps him in any way. Wooly is 5.2 seconds behind J-Rod now. So he has really closed that gap and got himself further forward. So I think we're going to start to see people start to dive into the pits. And so Rusty Nuts comes out. He was the first to go in. Parafusio gets himself up into 3rd, side by side with Venom. Venom with the inside line. He's not going to give this up, surely, into turn 1. And they both go in. And again, Parafusio trying to take it around the outside. Little coming together. Doesn't really cause any problems there. But this is really hard racing for these two. Parafusio just cannot find a way past. Venom doing everything to keep that Portuguese driver at bay, but it is still raging on that battle. And Lipe now catching back up to his teammate, 1.2 seconds. So this battle for 3rd still raging on. HBR a little bit off the pace now for that battle for 3rd. But listen, we know how quick this guy is. We know the sort of pace he chucks, and we saw last week just how quick he is. But at the moment, he's just dropped off the pace a little bit and settled into that kind of perfect midfield role in 6th place. Let's go back to our leaders. The gap's come down a little bit. Bipolar Express down to 3.7 seconds. And that... Is this a team ploy? Is he allowing... Knowing that Bite the Roses is 12 seconds clear of Parafusio, he's now... He was battling with Venom, and then they weren't, and then he gets ahead of Venom before they get to the bus stop. So Parafusio does finally get that move done up into 3rd place. Will that give an opportunity for Lipe? Lipe's making a move. He's going high. The sparks flying off the back of that car. And Bipolar and Roses both dive into the pits. Lap 17, exactly halfway through this race, which will be 34 glorious racing laps. And we've still got 17 more of them to come. So Venom goes into the pits. Roses comes out. Parafusio stays out. He will assume the lead of this race, and his teammate will assume 2nd. It will be short-lived, of course, because at some point they will have to go in and get some fresh rubber-dubber-dubber. By the Roses and Bipolar, they're both in. Where... Now, question 1 is, where is the gap when they come out? Look at them, identical on fuel. Very similar. HBR with a little bit more fuel, you can see there. Fry the Whiskers. He is in now. Renegade stays out, does he, or is he going to come in? He stays out. He's going to stay out for another lap, as is J-Rod. What about Wooly? Is Wooly coming in? Wooly is coming in to the pits. Rusty Nuts has already pit, as we know. So Parafusio leads from Lipe. Scarlet also stayed out for another lap, as did Arminis, who's closed that down to 8/10 of a second. Much closer there now between Scarlet, Arminis, Method. That battle still rages on. Do we see a little switcheroo in the pit window? I wonder. That'd be a little bit awesome. See that. So, Bipolar, that's where he comes out. He comes out instant place. So the gap to his teammate, 2.1 seconds. Little bit of a change there. The gap a little bit smaller. But that's not so much of a big problem because they're teammates. They can work together. Now, don't get me wrong. I'm sure, given the opportunity, Bite the Roses will say thank you very much and dive ahead of Bipolar and take the win if he can. However, that doesn't mean that as teammates they're not going to work together to ensure that it is a HyPrix 1-2 here, which is what the ideal scenario is for the HyPrix Porsche Cup, of course. So there we go, Lipe in, Parafuso in. Lipe got ahead of his teammate before they went into the pits there. But that would have been a bit of slipstream. What about Scarlet? What's he going to do? Does he stay out for it? He does. He stays out for another lap. As does Arminis is into the pits. Yes, he is. Method into the pits. So Scarlet stays out. He's going to assume the lead of this race, albeit briefly. So he's actually going a little bit longer, a little bit deeper into this race. So it'll be a good indication, actually. We'll see where he comes out because we've got Rusty Nuts. He went in early. He's 8.9 seconds ahead of Willie. That's where Willie's come out just behind him after Rusty Nuts pit early. So it'll be interesting to see how quickly Willie can close up on the back of Rusty Nuts pace-wise. Fried Whiskers, big loser so far. He's dropped down to 12th place now after these pit stops. Although Lipo's still in there, Method's still in there, Arminis still in there. Where's Parafuso? Where's he come out? Can't find him. Where is he? There he is, 4th place. He's come back out in 4th, 11.3 seconds behind Bite the Roses. So firmly in sort of de facto 3rd. By the time Scarlet goes in, Renegade stays out for another lap. He'll come in. So it will be, once everyone's got in and done their pit stops, we'll be looking at Bipolar Express resuming the lead of this race. 2.1 seconds clear of Bite the Roses. And then there'll be an 11-second gap back to Parafuso. LTM's Parafuso, and then back to his teammate LTM Lipe, who is not having it all his own way at the minute because HBR is crawling all over the back of the Malaysian driver, and behind them Venom. That's a 3-way battle now, and that will be a 3-way battle for a place just outside the top 3. It's not over for these guys by any stretch of the imagination. They are still very much in this race. Look, you know, we're only halfway through, and it'd be remiss of me to say that it's been won and 1st and 2nd already done and dusted because anything can happen. But I think, you know, we look at how they're performing at the moment. I think Bipolar and Bite the Roses are absolutely dominating this race at the moment, and I think it's very difficult to look past them for 1-2. But 3rd place is open for any one of these drivers, of Scarlet into the pits. So, I mean, Parafuso at the moment is in the driving seat. It's 2.2 seconds clear of Renegade. I think Renegade, at some point, Renegade's got to pit, right? He stays out for yet another lap. Kevin's loving it out there today. He's got no intention. He doesn't want to go into the pits. He's loving the starry night. Look at that stars. Look at him. He stays out for yet another lap. It's 20 laps on those racing soft tyres. Good show, my friend. Good show. That was properly British, wasn't it? Properly British. I'm not that posh, trust me. So, starting to put itself into its correct order again. There's Bipolar Express. The gap 1.3 seconds. Now, is that Bite the Roses just going super, super quick? Or is this a kind of ploy with teammates? I mean, to be fair, that's a purple lap for them. Is this a ploy from teammates just to kind of make sure they're working together to stay 1-2? Because, you know, once Roses gets within that 1 second, he's going to get slipstream and he's chucking in. That's another purple sector. Is he going to beat? So it was 1:44.4. 1:44.2 was the qualifying time in Division 1. Are we going to see a lap that beats that here in Division 2? That'd be awesome. I don't know if we're going to see a 43.6 like we saw in a race. That would be something crazy. But he's going purple all the way. We're going to stay with Roses to see if he can beat that 44.4. Or can he go sub 40? Imagine if he goes sub 44 and chucks in a Division 1 style lap. Well, there's the 43, there's the 44. Actually, he seemed to have lost some time at the end. He lost 2.5 tenths of a second in that final sector. But he is now within slipstream range of his teammates. They are 12.1 seconds clear of the Portuguese driver Parafuso. He's had some battles, Parafuso. quite a few people have been challenging him for that third place, but he's laid down the gauntlet now and decided he wants to make that his own. And he's just pulled out a gap now, 4.8 seconds ahead of Renegade, who is just being overtaken, but still hasn't been in the pits yet. HPR moves up into 4th, and Renegade, remember, Renegade does still need to pit at some stage. There's no way he can hang this. No way, no way. If he hangs this out to the end of the race, he's some kind of machine. It's not going to happen, I can assure you of that. Lipe just 3/10 behind. He's going to be challenging Renegade next to make a move through. But the thing is, this is harming their challenge for the top 3. So HPR, Lipe, Venom will all desperately want to get a shot at 3rd place. But where Renegade has stayed out and just been so good at defending, and he's got every right to defend track position, it's his track position. Lipe just making that move though as Renegade goes high. I think Lipe is going to have that little bit more pace. He seemed to be a bit quicker coming out. So Lipe, I think he's going to take 5th there. But what, yeah, as I say, where they've been held up, it's really cost them some time, and it's allowed Parafuso just to open up that gap in 3rd. And Lipe does get ahead of Renegade. They head down to the bus stop. They're still side by side. Neither are giving this up. Lipe in 1st, Renegade in 2nd. He does eventually, Renegade, allow Lipe through. And I think that's the wise decision. He knows he's got a pit. Holding him off when he's going that quick, I think. You're risking the spin off into a wall or some gravel for the sake of holding on to position. You're essentially going to relinquish probably at the end there. I think we'll see Renegade pull over now into the pits. Or do we? We do. He does finally decide that his pit crew have to see him at some stage this afternoon. But I think that's the longest we've seen anybody go in this entire three divisions this weekend. Apart from anyone that's run on the medium front back tyres. But that doesn't count because that was on softs. Armin is in 10th place. Will he gain 9th? How far back is he? He does. He takes 9th place. He's 3.1 seconds behind Scarlett. Yeah, they're very consistent by those two. Very, very good. I can't believe actually from Slipstream how good the pace is. If we look at Bipolar, for instance, I mean, steady 145, mid 145s. That's Division 1 pace there all day long. I mean, 44.9 from Bite the Roses. It's only 2/10 off the qualifying time in Division 1. And they're right with each other now. Now Roses has got that slipstream from Bipolar. Is there the potential for him to take this position from him? The Bipolar's not going to give it up. They might be teammates and they might be working together. But he's absolutely, if Roses wants it, he's going to have to take it. He's not going to give it to him. But they're like, another fast lap, he's 2/10 up. That will put him down into the 44.2. And we'll take a look at it. See, is he going to make the move on Bipolar, or is he just tucked in there for that extra speed? And that's what he's getting right now in that slipstream. He's just getting pulled along. Some great speed. And he's getting much closer. Comes to turn 1, he's not surely going to make that move. That's a 44.279. That's the fastest lap of the race. There he moves into the lead of this race, into turn 1. And Bipolar Express has to concede and say, off you go, my friend. You're showing the pace. Off you go up the road. Is this now an opportunity? Are they going to switch a route here and now Bipolar Express gets an opportunity to put in the fastest lap of the race, maybe? But I tell you what, they're working together. These two HyPrix drivers, absolutely phenomenal up front there. Parafusio, he's kind of cementing 3rd place now. 12.5 seconds back, and with all the love in the world, Parafusio, it's going to be very difficult for you to do anything to close up on Roses and Bipolar Express. Look, anything can happen, and there is always a mistake potential there. And without slipstream, he's done a 44.9. That's all on his own. That's his own work. That. So I'm not saying it's impossible, but they're always going to have each other to bounce off. And Parafusio, his teammate, is kind of some way back now and not really in a position to help him. So he's kind of got to do this on his own. We're on lap 23. There's about 11 laps remaining here at Daytona. This is the HyPrix GT Champions Porsche Cup. This is Division 2. We're at Daytona Road. It's the race number 4. We move on next week. We're at Autopolis. And then one more week, and then we're off to Interlagos. I love Interlagos so much. Absolutely gutted. When it's tracks I love, like Interlagos, I really wish I could drive. Actually, not that I could drive it, I just wish I could drive. Full stop. Okay, so Parafusio in 3rd. Let's have a look how Willie's getting on at the back. So Renegade, I think he stayed out. For me, I think he stayed out far too long. I think once you reach that 30-minute mark on the soft compound tyres, you put them on again and you're going to take them to the end of the race. And I think that's what he should have done. I think, maybe you can go to 35 minutes maybe and then just get the tyres on. But I think he cost himself quite a lot of time towards the end there. And he just got swallowed up a bit. He's now 2.1 seconds behind Woolley. So Woolley has kind of started to work his way back up. And it's a real crying shame what happened to him because he was in such a good position. And I certainly think that he may well have been challenging Rose's bipolar Parafusio up there for a top 3 spot had he not had that coming together. When I say coming together, it's only really coming together if there's 2 people involved. It was a slamming from behind. It wasn't a deliberate accident, just under braking, but it is what it is. He's 5 seconds back from J-Rod, who's running very comfortably at the moment, 3.5 behind Rusty Nuts of Australia. He's 9.9 seconds behind the great Black Flag Racing's Arminis. There he is in 10th place. Method's got past him. Can Arminis make a move and take that position back from Method of the United States? At the moment, he's just tucked in there, maybe just looking after the car a little bit and to make a move later. Scarlet Division 4 champion, there he is, 6.1 seconds up the road, the Belgian driver, the highest ranked ICE driver in Division 2 right now. 11.2 seconds is the gap to Venom. Venom and Friday Whiskers still battling out between them. Can one of these, or can a pair of these, do a little bit of work now and just help each other? Try and close on the back of Lipe. Maybe get Lipe and HBR involved together, because those two at the moment are kind of both vying for 3rd place at the moment, which neither of them are going to get while they're just batting out. Lipe dives up the inside into turn 1. That was an amazing dive, and he went in so quickly I genuinely thought he would just not stop and carry on. That's a great move from Lipe up into turn 1, and that moves him ahead of HBR. These two batting it out. The gap to Parafusio is 7.5 seconds. So can he close on his teammate and give us a little battle towards the end? So Roses and Bipolar Express still number 1 and number 2 for HyPrix. Roses just coming. The gap at one stage, Bipolar was 4 seconds. And it just started to come down, and then after the pits, it was down to about 2 seconds. And now they're kind of racing together on the racetrack. Roses with a 44.279 as the fastest lap. You've got a couple of laps to go before making the overtake on his teammate and pulling out in front. Half-second penalty there. What does that mean? That means Bipolar regains the lead of this race, and we'll see it happen right now. Here we go. Let's get into this chase cab, and we can see By the Roses slowing down. It says slowing down, and there he goes. He didn't even pull off the racing line for his teammate. Naughty man, naughty. But Bipolar Express takes the lead of this race again and does a 1:43.8 to boot. What a crazy lap that was. That is 0.2 of a second off the fastest lap in Division 1. Tell me about how these drivers are Division 2 drivers. You can tell me it, but I'm not going to believe it. It's utter tosh. These guys could literally drive in Division 1 right now and mix it with the big boys at the business end. That's how close, and that's the beauty of this Porsche Cup, to be fair. The beauty of it is that the margins between divisions are so small that you can take these drivers, you can take Bipolar, you can take By the Roses, you stick them in Division 1 now. They're mixing it with Lucas and with I forgot the other guy. With the guys at the front, with the likes of Slipstream, with the likes of all of them, really. This is where you're supposed to remember names, Andy. But you could literally chuck them in there and mix it with them, with the likes of Mazda and those kind of drivers. Parafusio, you could take him, you could plug them in there. Even Lipe, although at the moment Lipe is really struggling to pull away from HPR. HPR just tucked in that slipstream, trying to find a way through, trying to find some way to muscle himself past Lipe and try and get further up the road towards potential top 3. But at the moment, I think the top 3 is going to be very difficult to look past the current top 3 and see anything other than it being either bipolar or roses from Parafusio. Fry and the Whiskus. We saw that that introduction to the tyre wall in turn 1 when he went for a crazily brave move, which would have made him. Tell you what, if he pulled that move off, they would have built a statue of him outside Daytona. It would have been that good an overtake. But it was, brave overtakes take risky manoeuvres. He's 3.8 seconds behind that battle between Lipe and HBR. He's 1.6 ahead of Venom, and Venom's not going to let him get away. Venom is going to want to close that gap and have a little go at him if he can. Then it's 12 seconds back to Scarlet, and 6 back to Method, who's still not pulling away from Harmonist in 10th. Rusty Nuts behind Harmonist, 8.4 seconds. Ahead of J-Rod though, 5.4 ahead of J-Rod. J-Rod is now only 1.7 ahead of Wooly. Wooly is closing and closing fast, but he's not been able to do much, and it's really a really unfortunate chain of events for Wooly that's cost him a number of places. And then 5.6 seconds up the road is Renegade, who just picked far too late for it to be a viable strategy. Sorry for your Kev, man, should have got in earlier. There we go. So Bite the Rose is still in the lead of this race, 1.1 seconds clear of Bipolar Express. But let me just remind you that Bite the Rose is still going fast. He's done a 44.2. Bipolar Express has done a 1:43.8. That is Division 1. That is top end Division 1 pace from Bipolar Express, who absolutely is. These two are throwing this Porsche around with such gay abandon, but yet just churning out great lap after great lap. Very, very pleasing to watch from these two. Parafusio, I think he's just going to resign himself to third right now, because 13.2 seconds is the gap. He just cannot seem to close up with any kind of impetus on those front runners. So I think he's just going to have to resign himself to the fact that this is where he is going to be for the duration of this race. Lipe, there's his teammate. He's 8.6 seconds back. He's got HBR right behind him. HBR vying for that, but he wants 4th place. He absolutely wants an opportunity to at least try and chase Parafusio for these last 6 laps. With his 10, just about 10 minutes. There's 6 laps remaining, really. And he's so close to the back of him. But trying to be aggressive but fair at the same time. And a bit of lag there from Lipe does make it very difficult to make the overtake when you're not entirely sure where the car in front of you is going to be when you go for that move. So here we go. They come out of the horseshoe onto the oval. This is HPR 82 of Malaysia, closing down on the back of Lipe of the United Kingdom. And just a little wobbly lag there, just keeping his car not perfectly straight. And HBR was looking for a way through, but I wonder if he's hesitant to make the move because he's scared of making contact with that lag. I know that if I'm in that position, it's you always second guessing whether it's worth doing it. Does everyone have enough fuel? I can tell you that nobody's going to run out of fuel. No, nobody's going to run out of fuel. I don't think. I think everyone's going to be all right. I think everyone's going to be all right, John. We'll see. So here we go. Another opportunity for HBR. He goes high. They go across the line. HBR goes wide. Lipe on the inside. They go into turn 1. This time, he goes for the little switcheroony. He makes that switcheroony work. Gets on the power. Can HBR take 4th place? Hell yeah, he does. And he makes that little switcheroo in turn 1. And I love, that's one of my favourite moves. But he has a really bad next turn, and then Lipe's back. Lipe's back into 4th place. Now it's a nightmare in the slipstream. When you got a car like that lagging, you want to make the overtake every time, but you're always second guessing whether it's worth doing it, because so many times I've gone for that kind of overtake and the car suddenly appeared where you didn't expect it to be. So you do second guess it all the time. But I'm sure if there's an incident because of lag, I'm sure it's something that can't really be legislated for, because we can't control it. It's an act of me. No, I'm joking. I'm not suggesting that I am God by any stretch of the imagination, because I am not a fictional character. Anyway, moving on. Bite the Roses still leads. He's 1 second clear of his teammate Bipolar Express, and despite the fact that Bipolar Express has done what can only be described as I mean, listen, it was described as a phenomenal lap when the Division 1 guys, when the Division 1 guys were chucking out that kind of lap. It's phenomenal. It's a phenomenal pace. A 1:43.8 around here in this Porsche is a phenomenal pace. That is top end driving level. But at the moment, it's Bite the Roses that leads the way from Bipolar. They're now 15, and that's a purple sector. Is Bipolar going to improve on that? The target is a 1:43.6. Yeah, that is the target. Oh, they are, absolutely. Yeah, easily. I think you could take these two, you could plug them out, and and put them in that race today. And I think the top two, Lucas and I forget who's up there with him now. Why can I not remember his name? But I think you plug them in. I think that would have been a four-way slap, I suppose, in terms of pace. But here comes Bipolar Express now. He was purple. How purple is he? He's still purple. He's only at 400ths up. But 400ths is 400ths into the bus stop. If he can gain a bit more time here, he really can smash that fast. Jakey, that's it. Jakey. I knew it was like a normal name. I knew it wasn't like something I should forget really easily. Yeah, Jakey. So, Bipolar Express, is he still up? He's just rounding this big looping left hand banking arch, and through the penalty line, heads towards the line. He's tucked in behind his teammate, getting that lovely slipstream across the line. But he did lose some time in the final section and doesn't improve on the 43.8, unfortunately. I love the look of these cars when they come through. Beautiful. PD, two things I want from you. I want, in your next update, after you fixed Goodwood and Spa, is to give me back my keyboard controls and my replays. Please. Thank you very much. Another purple sector. We'll have a look and see if he does it. 16.3 seconds back to Parafusio. That place has been cemented now. Bar putting his car into a wall or on the grass or running out of fuel, which is unlikely. I think the top three is decided. The top three is decided. Whether Bite the Roses and Bipolar Express have decided, we will see. Lipe, he's in fourth place, but he now has Friar Whiskers has got himself back involved with the big boys. He was in a bit of obscurity further down the order. He's now around HPR. HPR, of course, promoted from Division 3 and already there or thereabouts with everybody else in Division 2. And he is just 2/10, just a quarter of a second behind Friar Whiskers, who is just over half a second behind Lipe. Lipe will not want to see these two working together behind. And HPR, a little nudge on Friar Whiskers there, maybe to help him along. You don't want to get too close to the bus stop, because that car will go flying straight on, and you will be getting punched in the head. Venom 5.9 seconds back from that battle. Scarlet 13.2. Method 6.1 back. Then Arminis from the wonderful Black Flag Racing team, run by a very awesome Kingsburg and his mate Andy. Rusty Nuts from Australia, 1.4 seconds back. 8.5 back to Wooly. He has got around J-Rod now and ahead of Renegade. I think he'd desperately love to be able to get ahead of Rusty Nuts, considering that it was Rusty Nuts that put him in this predicament of racing around the back of the pack rather than the front, where his pace dictates he should be. There's J-Rod 1.5 back, and then it is 7.1 seconds back to Australian Kev, ISO Renegade. So Roses is still in the lead of this race. Bipolar Express is still running in second. They've opened the gap up there. It's 18.5 seconds ahead of Parafucio in third. And these two are just having an absolute blast out there at the front of this race. We're at lap 32, 2 laps remaining for these two. So the next time, we're not going to look at them now. Unless they get into a little fisticuffs, we'll have a look at them on the last lap of the race, shall we? Let's not count Parafucio out here because he's done a 44.7. Now, a 44.7 is pretty darn quick. If you consider that he's done that on his Jack Jones, there's no one with him to help him along. There's no bump draft for him. There's no slipstream. There's no one to help him out. He's done that just on pure, unadulterated Portuguese pace. And it's a thing, apparently. Lap 32 for him. 18 seconds back from the two leaders. But comfortably at the moment, rounding out that podium. Lipe, frying the whiskers. HPR. This battle is still raging on between these three. Lipe just, I don't know how he's doing it, but he's just staying ahead of these cars. And we'll see if HPR now can try and make a move. Is he going to go straight through the middle of these two? Frying the whiskers looking around the outside. This time staying away from that tyre wall on the inside, which is probably a wise idea. Last time he went anywhere near that tyre wall with a little move. It's the reason he is now racing in fifth and not with Parafucio in the top three, because that's who he was battling at the time. They all come out safely. It's still in the same order. It's still Lipe from Frying the Whiskers from HPR. This is lap 33. There's a yellow flag ahead. Who's that? Who's stricken? That's Parafucio, and he is miles off the racetrack. And all change. His teammate up into third. Can you believe it? Absolutely shocking. Now this changes the complexion of this battle, because this battle was for fourth. This is now for third place. This is for the third step of the podium. By the Roses leads from his teammate Bipolar Express. Has got a penalty, so that is going to slow him down a little bit. So maybe first place is going to be out of the question for him. But now we've got Lipe, Frying the Whiskers, and HPR battling for third. And you've got to feel for Parafucio, because he had that in the bag. But now sixth place is the best that he can hope for. And that will have been self-induced. Absolutely nothing to do with anyone but himself, unfortunately. And this will be, I don't think this even will be the last lap of the race, is it? Yeah, I think it will be. Yeah, this will be the last lap of the race. It's Bite the Roses leads from Bipolar Express. Lipe, now Frying the Whiskers. I'll tell you what, these guys can smell blood now. They're absolutely going to try it. And here we can see Frying the Whiskers desperately wants to get ahead of Lipe. They know that this is a chance for a podium place that they weren't expecting to have a shot at going for. Lipe holding out as much as he can. Was there a little touch in the back of Lipe from Frying the Whiskers? And HPR goes through. This could be a big problem. Oh my God, everything going horribly wrong for LTM at the moment. Parafucio back up into fifth. Venom up into sixth. Lipe drops down to 7th place. Scarlet in 8th. And I'll tell you what, it's just all, this last lap has just gone off. Absolutely gone off. Like a firecracker. And what's happened to Bipolar? He's 7.4 seconds back. I think he's running out of fuel, and I think that's the reason he's not necessarily going super quick. But HPR now up into third place. It's just insane, absolutely insane. If you said to me one lap ago HPR is going to finish third in this race, I would have said shut the front door. You are talking absolute Macintosh. But look at this now, 26 seconds back from Bipolar Express. But here we go. Here is your race winner. Who was that that was just spinning? Someone was spinning. Here's Bite the Roses. He's going to cross the line and wins at Daytona for HyPrix. Bipolar Express is trickling across the line, but he will come home in second. Good 1-2 for the HyPrix team. Here comes HPR. Absolutely, you couldn't. I tell you what, this guy is so lucky. How has he lucked out there? There's certainly some stuff to look at though. The stewards are going to be hella busy after this race. Is HPR going to make it? Is that Parafucio closing on him, or is he going to cross the line? I think he's just going to make it. He does indeed make it. HPR crosses for third. There's Parafucio for fourth. There is Venom from RWB in fifth. 3.8 seconds back for Lipe. Gutted. Frying the Whiskers in seventh. Scarlet will come home in 8th place. What has happened to my driver? I thought he was going to be 10th, but he's not. There's Method. He's in 9th place. Rusty Nuts. He'll come home in 10th. Eventually. Come on, Rusty. He'll certainly be looked at for a penalty. There's Wooly coming home in 11th place. Ahead of Arminis. J-Rod finishes in 13th place. There goes Wooly across the line in 11th. 12th for Arminis. What happened there? It looks like, oh yeah, really bad luck there. Arminis comes home in 12th. J-Rod in 13th. And Renegade in 14th. But By the Roses is your winner. I'll tell you what, Chris. Don't ever ask me to be a steward, mate, because I am not picking that lot apart. There's going to be a hell of a lot of stewarding work to be done tomorrow before we can start working out who finished where and what and how on this one. So good luck with that, my friend, because I'm not getting involved in that sorry mess of a craziness. That was crazy finish, absolute crazy finish. But congratulations to the two HyPrix drivers, and what a better way to round out Division 2 of the HyPrix Porsche Cup for HyPrix to take 1 and 2. By the Roses from Bipolar Express from HPR. Let's get those three into a lobby and find out just I think I'm going to speak to Roses and Bipolar Express first, because HPR lucked. Funny enough, we had those three in the lobby last week as well. So same top three as last week. Slightly different order this time though. Bipolar Express doesn't take the win this time out. But let me go and find some drivers to chat to, and we'll be back shortly. Just wow. So I've got some drivers. I've got we see if we can unpick this. So HPR. How right? This is I'm seeing you in 6th place. Right, there is a lap and a half to go. If someone comes in my house now and says to me HPR is going to finish 3rd, I would have slapped them and sent them back out the door. And then it just unfolded in front of you. You must have been rubbing your hands together with joy. Yeah, I mean, it was insane. It was insane, because I was looking and it was, and these two speed demons were well on their way to finishing, and then we kind of looked at it. I think it was 18 seconds back to Parafucio, and he was a good sort of 8 or 9 seconds ahead of you guys fighting for fourth. And then all of a sudden, I go to Parafucio. I see the gap's coming down. I see Parafucio, and he's miles off the track somewhere. He's spun it so far off. He was practically on another racetrack. And then you guys all come bundling through, and there's like one person hitting another. It was absolute carnage. But yeah, you lucked out quite well there. But you've got to feel for the LTM guys, because at one stage in the last knockings of that race, both of them were looking at a podium.
Talk about the incident later, but in the end, I was like, never mind, I just take it.
It was absolutely crazy. I can't believe that.
Yeah,
I think I'm going to have to watch it back to seeing is believing. But no, great
Yes.
racing. Another top 3 for you. This one should stick.
yeah.
So, Roses, bipolar. You two just absolutely melted that. It was insane. You do realise, bipolar, that lap you put in, that hot lap you put in, was only 2/10 slower than the fastest lap in Division 1.
Yeah, that's about right.
No, he's exactly right, mate. Not even about. I mean, you two. I mean, you particularly, bipolar. You dominated from really early on. You got away from the line well. You kind of pulled out in front, and once you got to about 4 seconds at one stage. You were 4 seconds clear.
Yeah.
Of
I mean, do you know the Office meme where Dwight is there, and then all of a sudden, like Victoria or whatever her name is that little small girl's right next to him, and he goes, "Ah!"
Yeah.
Yeah, that was Roses. Yeah, that was me and Roses.
Because I did posit that you might have, because there was such a big gap back to Parafucio. I think it was like 12 seconds at one stage. I did posit that maybe you kind of slowed up a little bit, so you could kind of then work together and sort of go off as a kind of high pre.
Nah, Roses was just killing it. His second stint was amazing.
It was.
I mean, it came out of nowhere. I mean, I wasn't expecting it at all. I had a good gap managed, and I figured I'd be good to go to kind of just don't kill yourself at turn 1, don't kill yourself at bus stop. You have yourself a victory here. Then Roses came out of nowhere, and then Roses just was attack. He just did what he needed to do. It was amazing. He totally just clawed his way and took the win. Like, it was unreal. Like, he just drove like a maniac. It's great.
I mean,
I love it.
You got the fastest lap in it, but you were in that slipstream behind him. You just didn't have the oomph then to get past him.
It was kind of like the Dirty Air thing. So I would brake earlier in turn 1, brake earlier in the bus stop, hoping for momentum to pass him. And then as soon as I got the half-second penalty, I was like, game over. And then I tried to push too hard after I got the penalty, because I had one more lap. I got the penalty. We had one last lap, so I figured let me go try to attack, but I couldn't get the car to stop at the I don't know, after you come down the back stretch and you go through turn 1, there's that little chicane, and that turn 2 I couldn't slow the car down, and turn 3 I couldn't slow the car down. So I mean, Rose just came and took that crap. He just thought it. I thought that was the win, and then that's my teammate. It was unreal.
To be fair, it was a flawless drive. I mean, flawless from the pair of you, but Roses, that was something special, man. I mean, you didn't have the greatest of starts either. So were you even thinking about top 3 at that stage?
I was not thinking that I was going to do well at all. I was really worried for this weekend because I really wasn't on pace. But I just kept my head cool, head down, try just do consistent laps because that's what it is all around here. Just be consistent, and then you might as well do well.
It's funny because we did speak earlier this week about it, and you did sort of kind of express your concerns about your pace this weekend. But well, whatever concerns you might have had, they went fully out of the window once the race started. You just got you once you got into that front three, it never looked in doubt, really, did it?
No, not really. I had a little tap into turn one by someone. I think it was Lippe or Parafuso that gave me rear end damage. But I just maintained control of the car because I thought I was going to spin out. But it all happened so quick, and I kept control. But it was good.
Yeah, when behind you was absolute carnage. There was so much went on behind you in the last couple of laps. I think there's probably I count about 6 incidents in this race that need looking at. There was one really early on Woolley that he's looking at, but in the last couple of laps, third place changed hands I think 6 times in those last 2 laps. So I almost missed you guys crossing the line because it was going off behind you. But no, what a phenomenal race. And I thought it couldn't get any better than Division 1. But I would say that was pretty damn good. I think actually this is probably the race of the weekend. You guys are bringing it, man. You are bringing it.
Yeah, it's been insane for sure, and hopefully these final 2 rounds can make it even better.
Yeah, how are you feeling about Autopolis?
Should be a very interesting race. Being on controller, it's going to be very hard on my tyres, so I'm going to have a real thought about strategy there, and hopefully we have some rain and not have a Red Bull again.
Hopefully. I mean, yeah, that's the thing. Is if it's wet, it can really change the complexion of the race. I mean, I'm not a big fan of Autopolis. I cannot drive that track for toffee. But looking forward to it. Especially looking forward to it at Lambeth because I love that track. But it's in your hands now. It's in your hands. Maximum points for you, and you're still top of the tree. So it's all on you, mate. No pressure.
Yeah, hopefully I don't crack to it.
Yeah, I'll be fine. Listen, guys, thank you very much for joining me. That was absolutely fabulous. Really enjoyed that. And hopefully we'll have someone else to speak to next week because it's been you 3 for the last 2 weeks. Catch you later, guys.
Yeah, it's been good. Catch you later.
So there we have it, guys. That, well, what a finish that was. That was phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Lots to pick apart for the stewards, of course. So there's no point in even positing a results table at this stage because I think it all needs to be picked apart and find out what's going on. But yeah, what can we say? So that was the HyPrix GT Champions Porsche Cup. That was Division 2. Round 4 is over. On we move to round number 5. Round number 5, of course, will be at Autopolis, as you just heard from our race winner. It's going to be changeable weather. It could rain. It might not. It's going to be a really good race. I can tell you that. But thank you very much for joining me. I have been Urban Partner from Black Flag Racing TV. This has been the HyPrix Porsche Cup presented by GTChampions.com. Thanks very much for joining me, and it's been emotional.
Welcome to the HyPrix Porsche Cup. Presented by GT Champions.